let's get started. So, welcome to You're Not Lazy, You're Disconnected. I appreciate you guys all taking this time today, and I would love if we get started if everybody could drop one word in the chat of how you've been feeling lately. So, this is kind of an opportunity for us to be vulnerable. And whether you've been feeling great, you've been enjoying the summer heat and being outside, or you've been struggling, feeling stressed with work, I would love if you all kind of drop in the chat how you've been feeling. So I see overwhelmed, unmotivated, run down, stressed. Yeah. Loving gardening and being in the yard, a little farmer. Anxious, excited, mind fog, monotonous, overwhelmed, busy. Tina, yep. Yeah, so that gives us a good idea of kind of where we're starting at. And I really wanted to talk about disconnection because a lot of us feel it and we don't get an opportunity to talk about it very often. Um, so before we get started, I really want to just thank you all for showing up. And I know your time is valuable, and I know that time is one of the few resources in this life that we cannot get more of. And you all chose to spend your Sunday evening here learning about disconnection and choosing yourself. Um, choosing yourself takes conscious effort. And I wanted to recognize each and every one of you for showing up today, um, and just like prioritizing what's important for you. Okay. So, a little pre-frame of what we're going to talk about. First off, this is a safe, no pressure, no cameras required. I want everybody to be comfortable in whatever they want to do. So, cameras are welcome. Cameras don't have to be turned on. So first, we're going to talk about the current state of where we're all at, whether that's personally or collectively as a culture. And then we'll go into my story. So I'm going to share my journey of disconnection and reconnection and the things that I have gone through that have brought me to this point. Then we'll go into a little bit of teaching. So, what disconnection actually is. We'll talk about the science behind it and really why you're not lazy, you're disconnected, and what has brought us to that point. We will do an experience, we'll do a guided meditation, and then I'll talk about finding reconnection and 3 pathways to get there. We'll talk about Reconnection 101. At the end, we'll have Q&A, and then we will close. So, a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to ask that everybody turns themselves on mute just so that we don't have any background noise and there isn't anything interference wise. If you have a question or a comment, those are all welcome. You can drop them in the chat and I will keep an eye on the chat so that if anything comes up while I'm talking, I can address it. And also, at the end, once we get to the Q&A question, you are more than welcome to take yourself off mute and we can go through some questions. Okay? So let's get started. The current state of the United States, whether this is personally or collectively, you all showed up today for a reason. Whether the title of this workshop intrigued you, whether that was to support me, or maybe you just clicked the registration link without really having a reason. No matter what, I believe you all showed up today for a reason, for a purpose. And in a time where we all feel stress at an all-time high, in history, this is the most bombarded we've been with so many things going on at once and so much access to knowing everything all at once. And let's be honest, I've talked to so many individuals who feel like they can't get enough rest and are just exhausted all the time, no matter how much they sleep. Talk to other people who end up scrolling for hours, unaware of how time is passing, and then things just get neglected, and then end up feeling disappointed at themselves for avoiding the things that matter. Just because there's a lack of energy right now, people feel like they can't live the lives that they want to. So everybody's really feeling drained. And this workshop is all about how this is not necessarily laziness or a character flaw. It is not something that is wrong with us, but it's actually a symptom. And based on the words that you guys put in the chat earlier, a lot of those things are different forms of disconnection and they all express themselves. They're all different symptoms and we all experience them in different ways. So let's go into my story. So my disconnection started in childhood. So somewhere early in childhood, that disconnection really began. And I would come home from school, go right to the cabinet, and sit myself in front of the TV screen and eat and eat and eat. And I used food and TV to cope because at a young age, I had no idea that I was trying to escape, not aware of the pain and the stress impacting me. And so, because of these habits, I was quite overweight for my age. My whole family had struggled with their weight, and so we went into Weight Watchers and different diet programs and nutritionists. And though it was implemented with a great intention to help, it actually seeded a belief in myself that I wasn't okay for who I was. And this was no one's fault but the circumstances at hand. But I came away feeling like I wasn't enough for being just me. So then in elementary school, I found some reprieve in athletics. I found a way to do something healthy for myself that also put me in a tight knit community of a team. I felt better. And throughout grade school, I created my life based on sports and academics. And I was good at what I did. And I finally was getting the validation I had always craved as a young girl. When senior year came around, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life other than to help people and to keep playing sports, really. So I ended up choosing to go to college, being recruited for a sport, and chose a major in something that seemed like it put the two things that I loved together. So I chose athletic training. I loved athletics and I wanted to help people. Made sense, right? Well, my freshman year of college changed all of that. I hit rock bottom, basically. The isolation of COVID and 3 injuries from rugby, I had a breaking point. After my third surgery got pushed back, I was forced to miss yet another season playing the sport I loved and had been recruited for. The thing that I built my life around, athletics, was constantly out of my reach as I went through the cycle of injury, surgery, recovery, and then a brief period of participation until then another injury, surgery, recovery. And the day that my surgery got postponed, I cried all day long. There was a dark grief coursing through my body, so intense that it was physically painful. I was so angry. I became aggressive, which was unlike my nature at the time, and even kicked a hole in my wall out of frustration. Seeing that side of myself scared me even more. And later that day, I remember laying on my bed, frozen in fear, because if I got up, from my bed. I knew I would inflict self-harm to mitigate the pain I was feeling inside. I considered taking my life that day because everything I had dreamed of and built was taken away from me. And what I know now is that my identity I put around myself was crumbling. Then this brings me to the Appalachian Trail. So without athletics, I realized that I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my purpose. I didn't know why I was here. I didn't know anything. And even though I didn't know all of these things about myself, I was determined to find the answers and to find the truth. So I radically shifted my life. I dropped out of college and escaped to the woods. What better place to contemplate and figure things out than with no distractions and no responsibilities other than to walk? In the preparation and pursuit of the through hike of the Appalachian Trail in 22, I had found holistic medicine and eventually stumbled upon life coaching. While I hiked the trail, I found myself, I found community, I found purpose, and I had finally reconnected in a way that felt real and felt like it was true rather than something that I was reaching to other things to satisfy myself with. Then I became disconnected again. Uh, 4 years later, I've had many ups and downs since then, going through another shoulder surgery, experiencing extreme lows of depression and debilitating weekly panic attacks, being diagnosed with a binge eating disorder, quitting a stable job to leap into the unknown of pursuing a career in coaching. But the most recent messy chapter was last month. So in May, I hit yet another low, and a giant wrench was dropped into my pre established plans of traveling the country and living out of my car. I had to leave this adventure and come home earlier than I expected when I really wasn't ready to. And so I went through waves of feeling depressed again and even experienced a few panic attacks for the first time in years. Everything felt so uncertain, and I had felt this dark cloud over me. And I was so confused because, I've done all this work. Why am I feeling like this again? But even in that dark period, I knew that there was a purpose. So then there was this epiphany. So after a lot of reflection and being home and implementing the tools that I've cultivated through therapy and coaching and nature and exercise, I was able to come back to myself. I realized that I was disconnected because I was not tapped into myself, nature, and a community in the way I had come to know was actually life-giving. So I used these tools of reconnection, and I realized that periods of disconnection are inevitable. Life is constantly changing. Our circumstances are frequently out of our control, and these things get imposed in our lives because that is how life is. But it's how quickly we bounce back that matters. Whether those periods of darkness last years or a few weeks or a few days. So I'm not here because I have it all figured out. Really, I don't have it all figured out, and I'm constantly embodying the student and trying to learn more and more. But I'm here because I know the way back. So let's talk about what disconnection actually is, the science behind it. So the nervous system is what is being affected most in this circumstance. And within your nervous system, you have your somatic side, which is your touch, taste, all your senses, the things that you can control. And then you have the autonomic nervous system. Think autonomic, automatic. These are the things that happen without you thinking about them, whether that's breathing, your heartbeat, digestion, your brain activity, your blood pumping. Your autonomic nervous system controls all the things that are automatic. Now, the autonomic nervous system is split into two different sides, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. We've all heard of the fight or flight response or the rest or digest response, but we've never often been told what that actually is in our body and how it works biologically. So the sympathetic, think stress. Sympathetic stress, parasympathetic is the rest and digest. And for a majority of human history, we did not live in houses with jobs and phones at our fingertips, constantly asking for our attention. For most of human history, we lived in tribes, in nature, in community. And the dangers that we faced were from wild animals or unexpected weather. So our nervous system has evolved and our biology has evolved to be programmed to respond to threats, like it responds to threats when we were back in human origination. That's why I have this lion in the background. So picture this. You're walking outside the village, secluded from the tribe you know to be your people, and you see a lion across the way. Your body has evolved to intelligently activate a fight or flight mode to get you to safety and to survive. Your heart begins racing. Your blood becomes pumping to your limbs so that you can move quickly and to your head so you can think quickly. Now, in our current society, our biology doesn't know the difference between threats. It doesn't know that a breaking news headline is not a lion. Both are perceived as threats, and so this fight or flight response is activated in both situations. So, once again, sympathetic is stress, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. The parasympathetic is rest and digest. This is like a flip in our bodies. It's like a light switch or a seesaw in that picture. If one is activated, the other one is off. If the other's activated, the other one's off. So you can't be in a stress response and also be in a rest state. Now, modern solutions for this have been trying to kind of handle the bombardment of stress that we experience on a daily basis. So the news lines is a threat. Even though we aren't in the war across the world, we still feel the impacts of what a war would be like. Or it could be the constant notifications, the emails, the texts that we don't want to respond to that are constantly getting our attention. It could be the person who cut you off in traffic. And that feels life-threatening in a way because it could be. It could be your boss who knows exactly how to get under your skin, and you could end up losing your job, which also could be life-threatening if you're not able to make money and feed your family. So the solutions that we are taught in our current society are actually taught to numb. So you can numb with food that you can pick up fast at almost any street corner. You can numb with social media that can get you to laugh or distract you from the stress you're already feeling. You can numb with being productive and getting that deadline completed or filling your calendar to feel like you're accomplishing something. Or maybe you numb with materials. So that new phone will make me feel better, or that new car will be just what I need. I want to emphasize that this is not your fault. This is not our fault. This is how our system is built. And yet, the effects are real. And we get to notice and become aware of how we are affected by the things going on, whether that's decision fatigue, whether that's low motivation, whether that's emotional flatness, or just feeling meh all the time, overwhelmed, busy, unmotivated. All of these things are forms of disconnection that are actually symptoms to the overarching bombardment of stress that we are feeling. So you're not lazy. You're just disconnected. But the question is, how much is enough? How much will we allow ourselves to continue feeling like this? Because we all internally know that we want to feel better and we think that it's possible. But how much is enough? How much do we have to go through until we allow ourselves to find the resources to make that happen? All right. So now we are going to do a guided meditation, and I want to invite you into a short practice together. So meditation has been a huge tool that I've utilized in my life for probably 4 or 5 years now. And it's a great way to flip that switch from fight or flight to rest and digest. And it doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to feel a certain way. It is just a practice that over time builds this ability to rest within your body. So, you don't have to do anything perfectly. There's no right way to feel. All I ask is that you let yourself arrive, maybe for the first time today. And if it feels okay to you, let your eyes close, get comfortable in your seat, let your hands rest somewhere comfortable on your thighs, in your lap, wherever feels natural. So we're going to begin by feeling the weight of your body. Feel the chair or the floor beneath you and really let it hold you. You don't have to hold yourself up right now. Let something else carry you for a moment. Feel your feet, whether they're on the floor or crossed beneath you. Just notice them. They've been carrying you all day. Let them rest. Take a breath in through your nose and a long, slow exhale through your mouth. Let that breath take something with it. Any tension you walked in with, any to-do list still running in the background, let it take it just for now. And let's do this together 3 times. Inhaling through your nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale slowly for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, in for 4. Hold for 4. And out for 6. One more time. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. Letting everything soften. Now, very gently, let your attention move through your body. We're not looking for anything. We're just noticing. Start with your feet and legs. Just notice. Is there tension? warmth, numbness, tiredness. No judgment, just a gentle hello. Move your attention into your belly. This is where so much lives. And so many of us hold our breath here or hold ourselves in. See if you can just soften this area, even just slightly. Next, bring your awareness to your chest and your heart space. Notice what's there. Heaviness, tightness, or maybe something more open. Whatever it is, it's welcome. Move up through your throat and jaw, places we hold so much of what we don't say. Let the jaw drop just slightly and unclench. You don't have to hold anything back right now. And finally, the muscles around your eyes and forehead. Let them go soft. From this quiet place, I want to ask you something. And you don't have to answer out loud. Just let yourself feel into it. What have you been ignoring? Not tasks, not emails, but something in you. Something quieter that has been trying to get your attention. Maybe it's a longing. Maybe it's exhaustion that goes deeper than sleep can fix. Maybe it's a version of yourself that you used to know, or a life you imagined that somehow got buried. Just let that thing be present for a moment. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to understand it. Just let it be seen. When you're ready, very gently begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Feel yourself back in the room, back in your body. Take one more full breath in. Let it go. And when you feel ready, let your eyes open slowly. There's no rush. Welcome back. Let's talk a little bit about reconnection. So in my life, I found that there's 3 pillars to reconnection: self, nature, and community. First, the self. It does not have to be complicated, and it can be as simple as daily check-ins. Just as you all did in that guided meditation, all you have to do is close your eyes and ask yourself, how do I feel in this moment? Now, because of the busyness of life, because we have so much going on and kids to take care of and jobs to do and places to drive and all of these things, it can feel like that alone can be difficult, but it takes 5 seconds and it can be as long as you want. But if we continue to go inward and ask ourselves how we actually feel, that starts to build this connection with ourselves. So for each of these pillars, I'm going to offer a practice for you guys to do just so that you have something to take away from this workshop today. Now, this practice for connecting with yourself is one of the first things that I do with clients, and it is something that I do daily and something that I've done for about 5 years that has radically shifted my life. So it's to write 5 things you're grateful for every day. Now, this might seem silly because it's not Thanksgiving, and why do we have to write down 5 things we're grateful for? This trains your brain to look for the good things happening in your life. It trains your awareness to look for the positive and be optimistic, even when the darkness comes in, even when you feel disconnected. And what I encourage clients to do, and what I'm going to encourage you to do, is to not name family, friends, food, car, house. I challenge you to name 5 micro things, little moments or little aspects of life that are like a snapshot into the beauty of what your life can be. So it could be the warmth of the sun on your skin as you're driving to work. It could be the wind on your face in a storm, even though you're getting pelted with rain. It could be, that deadline at work that's been stressing you out but has finally gotten completed. It could be your children crying in the other room when in reality you have kids that are capable of crying. It can be anything, and it can radically change your life. And that brings us to second pillar, nature. This has been the biggest thing for me, especially since the Appalachian Trail. And it also can be simple. Daily exposure. Viewing trees or grass or birds flying past or the open sky, any of these things, viewing nature switches that flip from stress to rest and digest. We were born in nature. We are mammals. And yet we've boxed ourselves in these houses and these cars and these shoes to continuously pull ourselves away from nature, when in reality, nature is our home, if you boil it down. And research shows that it lowers blood pressure. It decreases the stress hormone cortisol, which is what is released in the fight or flight response. It regulates brain activity, alleviating anxiety and fatigue and depression. So the practice that I offer you is to just go outside for 10 minutes a day without a phone. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes, but I encourage you to go outside without a phone, even if it's cold, even if it's raining, because once you put yourself in the elements, it can get you out of your mind, or it can help you get out of your circumstances just for a second to see, oh, the birds are flying past. They are taken care of. I will also be taken care of. Or, oh, the trees are blooming. Even though we had such a harsh winter, they still came through and moved through that cycle. Nature has lessons for us to learn from, and simply putting ourselves out there enough allows us to reflect on how it can be applied to our life. And then the last pillar, community. So we're told we're the most connected the world has ever been through social media and through the news and through being able to FaceTime somebody across the world. If that's the case, if that's true, why do we feel so alone? People feel more isolated and more alone than probably ever. And the quote that I'm going to suggest to you is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you are spending most of your time working with coworkers 40 hours a week that you can't stand, that's going to impact who you become and who you are. If you are spending time with a majority of strangers that you don't know, naturally, you're going to become more like them. And so, putting yourself in a community where you feel inspired, where you feel safe, where you feel the ability to be yourself and to grow into the person that you want to be, it can make all the difference. And that brings me to Reconnection 101. So, this is a course and a community that I am beginning to offer. And really, what is focused on in this course is self connecting practices. So, we all want to deepen the connection with ourselves, but what does that look like? And it can be done in so many ways, whether physically, mentally, spiritually. I've cultivated so many tools because I was so disconnected from myself that I now know myself better than I could have ever imagined in a holistic approach. In this course, we'll also focus on how to connect to nature intentionally. So anybody can go outside, but a lot of people just twiddle their thumbs and then wonder why they just want to go back inside and go back on their phone. There are so many ways that we can gain the benefits of being in nature. It just takes a little bit of leaning into it and doing so intentionally. Third, the course will also have a community built on authenticity. So everyone will be showing up with the like-minded desire to reconnect. And so that will already bring people together. There will already be something in common that then allows for resonance and allows for safety and allows for people to have relationships long term. So in this course, it's focused on community, self, and nature. And it's multifaceted, it's well-rounded, and it's a holistic approach to sustainable connection. Because I want to give people the tools so that they can bridge that gap and be able to come back to that feeling of reconnection on their own. I want to empower people to be able to sustain this long term so that it's not just a quick fix that then, goes out the window as soon as the course is over. It'll be every Sunday from 7 to 8:30, exactly like this class is, and it begins next week. It'll be 9 weeks long, so I believe that goes up until August 30th. And it'll be held from Zoom, just like this, virtually, so that you can join from anywhere, because I know there's people from all different states or actually countries on here right now. And if you can't join, it'll be recorded so that you have those tools and you have the lesson to go with you. It'll be a step-by-step process, reconnecting through the three pillars. And it will be a support to help find reconnection again. And so you all showed up today. You chose yourself. You took this time to learn about what disconnection is and prioritize that aspect of your life. And these 9 weeks are going to pass regardless of what you choose. But what could really change with 9 weeks dedicated to reconnection? This course is truly for the person who is tired of just surviving, tired of just feeling the monotonous grind of day-to-day life. And this is also for the person that knows there's more to life, knows there's more to life, but hasn't been able to experience it yet, and maybe has in the past, but can't access it right now. And this is also for the person who's ready to step in to the version of themselves that they can be. So after this workshop, I am going to send a link with the information about Reconnection 101. It's also this QR code, so if you want to scan it, I'm going to also send it in the chat. But this link will give you more information about the course and all of this and more, because the reason why I wanted to get so many people into this workshop is because everybody here is going to get a discounted rate for this course and community. So it's $444 for the 9 weeks. And that's less than $50 a class. Less than $50 a week for you to have tools for the rest of your life. Really investing in your future self and the you that you want to be. So the registration ends in 3 days on July 1st at 11:59. And also in this email, I'm going to have a video included, which is my first YouTube video, but it is a explanation of all the things that have brought me to this point, because there have been so many puzzle pieces that have been adding themselves together to create this course and this community. And that YouTube video kind of describes more of what I've been through in the past 6 months that have all led to this course. So, that all being said, does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns? You can either raise your hand at the bottom and then we can go one by one. You can type them in the chat. I would love to hear what anybody's thinking, what anybody's feeling. Quiet group all of a sudden. Y'all were chatting in the beginning. That's okay. Nobody's got questions. You can also ask me after the class. Um, and I'll send out my email and stuff. But before we close, I want to have everybody type in the chat one word to describe how you feel now. Just to give an idea of how you've been feeling versus how you feel now. Sue, to answer your question, so she said, how long did you say the sessions will be? They'll be roughly an hour and a half, so from 7 to 8:30 on Sunday evenings. So people are feeling calm, seen, relaxed, calm, relaxed, peaceful, inspired, educated, throttled. Love it. Joy. Happy. Oh, I don't know how that's happening. All right, so there's no more questions. I want to thank you guys once again for being here. I really appreciate when people choose to show up for themselves in this way and kind of honor what they feel called to do. And I know it was no small thing for you to give up your Sunday evening. And so I want to leave you all with a quote. The connections we make in the course of life, maybe that's what heaven is. What if heaven can be on earth? There is my contact information. If you need it at all, I will be sending out an email with that discounted rate, with that video, with kind of an explanation more on Reconnection 101. And thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it.